If you've ever wondered what it actually takes to be able to use your nursing knowledge in a new and innovative way, there could not be a better spot for you to be this evening. I want to welcome you to the Create Income with AI Masterclass, where I'll be walking you through exactly how I used my nursing knowledge, as well as AI and some other recent advancements in the world of technology, to be able to bring them together to create something that was new, novel, and different, and allowed me to be able to carve out a very unique niche in the marketplace. Now, if this is the first time that you and I are interacting, my name is Timmy. I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for 10 years, but we'll get into that. But really, what, of course, you guys are all here for today is more so about what I've been able to do outside of my traditional job. And what I am going to offer today is an opportunity for you to be able to just learn a little bit more about AI, how you can bring that together with what you've already been doing to create a unique and new niche for yourself. And the promise that I want to make to you is that you will leave here today with at least one idea for how you can create a side income, a side gig, or a full on business that will allow you to eventually replace your job income, or even a consulting agency that makes unique use of what it is that you've spent all this time, knowledge, and probably money as well to be able to learn. Why don't we go ahead and get started? But before that, if I just want to ask for y'all's permission for this, and if you're not up to it, just go ahead and let me know in the chat. But in the event that you are up to it, I wanted to say this. If I add value today to you and I deliver on this promise of you having at least just one idea, just one, that's it. We ain't going crazy, just one idea for how you can use your nursing knowledge and AI to be able to build something new, unique, and different, then at the end of today's masterclass, I would just like the permission to just share an opportunity with you all to be able to go to the next step, to actually follow through on that commitment, that excitement that I trust we're going to generate today. If I have your permission to do that, just in the chat there, wherever you're watching, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you are on Facebook, just go ahead and drop a yes in that chat there. If indeed you do have, or if you're going to give me that permission, rather, if I do have your permission. I see Anna said yes. Okay, love that. Anyone else? I know it's going to give me permission to be able to just share something with you at the end of this masterclass. All right, Anna, it might just be you and I. No, I'm just kidding. Great. With that, oh, and we got Karen as well too. Excellent, excellent. Well, with that, let's go ahead and jump right in. All righty. And throughout the masterclass, if you guys have questions, please do go ahead and drop those in the chat. I always love engaging with people as we go through this, especially if you see something that blows your mind. You just got to let us know in the chat, because if it's exciting for you, I guarantee you it's going to be exciting for somebody else as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to walk through this. Now, go ahead and put in the chat where it is that you're joining from, because I'm always curious to see just how diverse of a group we have. And I also want to know if everybody here is a nurse. I know sometimes we got people from other disciplines as well, which I highly encourage, because we're all running the same race here, all realizing that there are limitations to what it is that you have the ability to do if you don't actually do something that's outside of the norm. So tell me two things: where you're joining from, and if you are a nurse, mention that. If you have a different profession, mention that too. Let's see. Okay. Ooh, we got some people from Florida, Venice, Florida. I did not know that there was a Venice in Florida, so that is good. Good to know. I appreciate that, Walter. We got Tampa Bay. Okay. Deanna, and you are a nurse too. We've got Isabel, who's joining us from Ontario, Canada, fellow Canadian, finally. I'm actually out in Alberta in Canada. And we've got Anna as well. Okay, excellent. Love that. Love that. Nurse from PA. RN Walter, thanks for jumping in and mentioning that. Karen as well. And then Connie. Great. We've got a nice diverse group, mostly nurses. So that works out nicely. Let's go ahead and dive right in how nurses can turn everyday problems into paid opportunities and retainers. Now, first and foremost, who am I? We ain't going to spend too much time on this. If you do follow me on socials, you probably know all about this. My name is Simi Abiola. As I mentioned, been a nurse for 10 years, started in inpatient child and adolescent mental health, did a little bit of outpatient as well. And I am now working as a clinical informatics analyst, which has been amazing because that really laid the foundation for me to be able to understand just how valuable nursing skills, nursing perspective, the nursing process itself is outside of traditional bedside roles. And I focus a lot on quality improvement, which people tell me all the time. I can't get experience for informatics. I can't become a super user. I don't know what to do. Nobody's going to hire me without experience. Get involved in quality assurance, quality improvement. That is your golden ticket. On the entrepreneurial side, I'm the founder, director, and chief automation officer, in case you were wondering what that is, of Enlightened Informatics. I also have co-founded another company called Compathia AI, which actually uses AI voice agents to teach soft skills and to teach assessment skills, which we'll see. Maybe I'll give you guys a quick demo of that today. I've overseen the development of a lot of different workflows, a lot of different advancements when it comes to integrating technology and healthcare. And this is why I am just so excited about what it is that we have the potential to do by bringing these two worlds together. Now, who is this masterclass for? This masterclass is for any nurses who want to be able to actually leave the bedside, or if you're not working bedside, to just grow your income, to add flexibility to your life, to add earning potential, to have the ability to call the shots. Because when you're working as a nurse, especially in the hospital, everything is happening around you. You have very little control over what happens to you or even your patients. There are things totally outside of your control that will impact how well your patients are taken care of. And so that was something that just didn't jive with me. You're a nurse who wants to be able to solve real problems with simple tools. We're not out here. I'm not promising you're going to create the next Facebook. That's not what we're here for. You're going to hear me say this time and again, but I'm going to get you guys used to it now. One problem, one solution for one client. That's our focus. And you're ready for clear examples that will allow you to be able to take the next step. If that's you, you are in the right place. Now, the tricky thing here when it comes to, and I'm going to stop sharing for a sec here just so you guys can hear me really well. Now, the tricky thing when it comes to being able to actually use your knowledge in an unconventional way is we get stuck in this trap thinking that, I can't actually do this because I am XYZ. I don't have XYZ. I want you guys to suspend disbelief. What do I mean by that? Any thoughts that you had around why you might not be able to do this, I want you to just set that aside. And the last time that we ran this masterclass, we talked about the 3 myths, which are the fact that you actually need a lot of money to get started. False. Everything that you need has a free tier. I promise you that. And we'll talk about what some of those specific tools are. Another thought is that you actually need to be able to have some sort of credentials, or you need to have some sort of coding experience. I'm telling you, 9 months ago, when I got really serious about building no code solutions, as we like to call them, whether that's automation tools or just starting to build apps in general, I watched some YouTube videos. I did get somebody to mentor me who was able to help me build out some of my first automations, and his teaching was instrumental. But really and truly, I have been able to learn everything I've learned through free resources. I just got a mentor because I wanted to shortcut the process. But if you're happy to use free resources and to take your time, there's nothing wrong with that. These free resources are incredibly useful, and we'll talk about what some of those are. And then the last myth that we need to overcome right at the start of this, again, we're just suspending disbelief. Set that to the side. The last belief that we need to, or the last myth that we need to overcome, is that the market is saturated. When people tell me that, I just like kind of look at them with the most confused look ever, because we actually have not even begun to see the peak of what AI is going to be. We are just now starting to see AI tools pop up inside clinical settings. Epic announced that they have some features coming. Epic, the company that makes this EMR system, and then Cerner, or Oracle rather, the company that makes Cerner, they also announced that they got some AI tools coming as well. And I'm telling you guys right now, there's never been a better time for us to dive into that. So with that out of the way, now that we are already, and we've already busted all of those myths that make us think that this is not for us or that we can't do this, let's go ahead and dive back into the material. Now, as we go through this, I mentioned this in the emails, if you signed up late, you may not have seen this. I am going to do a live app demo somewhere along this call. I ain't going to tell you when. You just got to make sure you hear till the end. And what I would like is for somebody who has an idea that they would love to see come to life live and to also be able to co-develop that app with me, which the last 2 weeks we've done this, it has been fantastic. The ideas that have come through, and each of those apps are going to be game changers in their respective industries. So, what I want to really make sure that we're all on the same page about is that there are three specific ways that we can leverage our nursing knowledge and AI to create an income. The first way is AI education and training, which ties back to what I was saying earlier about the direction that Epic and Cerner are going. The reality is, anytime an implementation of anything needs to happen in healthcare, if it does not pass muster with nurses, it's not going to be successful. Why? Because we as nurses are the gatekeepers to patient experience, to patient outcomes. Because ultimately, it's us who determines that. Yes, we are not the most responsible healthcare practitioner, but the reality is that we spend the most amount of time with the patients by far. And so this naturally lends us to becoming excellent teachers. Patient education is something we all need to be skilled at. You can't say, oh, I'm not a good teacher. Teaching is part and parcel with being a nurse. That's just the way it is. And so naturally, as we go about preceptoring students, as we have buddies that come through as a new somebody as a new hire, and we need to do buddy shifts with them. We've all got a great amount of experience teaching. So this presents a very unique opportunity, whether you're in a formal educator role. If you're an educator that's joining us today, just go ahead and put that in the chat. I'm curious to know if we've got any educators today. But whether you are an educator or not, this is a very unique opportunity for you to be able to take advantage of the skills you spent all this time developing in order to do something new, novel, and above all else, profitable. But if you're not an educator, don't worry, because these are all skills just like any other skill in nursing that you can learn. And what I would highly recommend is that you take the time to familiarize yourself with at least just one tool. We're going to talk about a few today, but just start with one tool. If I was a nurse just learning how to use these tools, I would start with Copilot. Copilot is the least effective out of all of them. But what Copilot has on all the rest of them is it's integrated into the Microsoft solution. The vast majority of us work in companies where they use Microsoft Outlook, or you have Word, PowerPoint, Excel, right? It's very common to have a Microsoft solution where you're working. What does this mean? It's integrated with your email. It's integrated with Teams. It's integrated just on the app itself on your work computer, which means that if you start to learn how to use these tools ahead of everybody else, people are panicking about how AI is going to be integrated. And if you can take the lead on that, that is something that is going to set you apart in a powerful, powerful way. Now, I see some comments here where we're talking about, hopefully the video is not still frozen. Lara, I see that you had mentioned that. If anybody else has seen frozen video, let me know. I'll see what I can do. We've got a lot of experience here. So we got some nurses with 30 plus years experience. Oh, we need you. We need you. So you guys are in the right spot. So as I said earlier, the demand for AI stuff is just growing, and it's a unique way to be able to leverage your clinical expertise. You can help develop curriculums for AI integration. You can use these tools to develop curriculums for maybe a side business that you're doing, or maybe even just an orientation manual for where you're currently working. And Anna, love to see that AI has already changed your life. Why don't you just go ahead and tell us in the chat? Give us one example of how it is. I believe it. I've lost count of the number of ways that AI has changed my life, but just give us a couple examples. Encourage the people. Let them know that this is possible for them, Anna. You can facilitate workshops. I know a nurse who her entire business model is actually providing education contracts to individual hospitals and health systems. And she is teaching AI to their staff from the C-suite all the way down to the people who are doing the work each and every day. The amount of money that she's making doing this using just Chat GPT when she told me, it stunned me. Because for me, I like to be complicated, unfortunately, which is why I like to keep it as simple as possible for you guys. My first app that I tried to build was an EMR system, which is crazy. I do not recommend starting with an EMR system. It's tough. But her whole business model is providing contracts to or fulfilling contracts for AI education. So workshops, everybody is hearing about AI. Very few people know how to use it. So why don't you bridge that gap? You can also provide consultation to teams that are looking to implement this. As I said, they absolutely need nurses leading this. And if you start your own business to do that, that is going to be by far the most profitable way, but you don't need to do that. If you're not at the point where you're ready to start a business, that's okay. When they have these new initiatives or they have pulled together a working group to look at how AI is going to be integrated or about the safety and privacy implications, volunteer yourself. Please volunteer yourself. That's how you're going to set yourself apart. And it also provides you with the opportunity to streamline change management, whether it's using project management tools or project tracking tools, whether it's building materials that you can then distribute to people to help them understand what's coming. AI has provided so many different ways to be able to do that. So I'm curious to see what Anna said here. Let's bring it up. Prior authorization, case manager, and guidelines and evidence-based knowledge. See, people who are like, oh, we can't use it for our work yet as nurses. People always ask me, well, I can't use it. That's patient privacy issues. Nope, you just got to get creative. Case management is probably the best use case I've seen so far because you can build lots of different templates. And Isabel had mentioned, yeah, you're starting to see use for creating guidelines at work. This is incredible. You can take an established or older policy and say, these are the things that we have updated since the first policy went out and the new one. We need you to mash these documents together instead of typing all this out by hand. I can't imagine how people used to do that. That ain't for me. But as I mentioned here, it's highly profitable to dive into this niche. The next one is building AI apps and automations. The reason why this is going to be where we're going to focus a lot today is because this is what has changed my life. Being able to envision something and then to plan it out, to bring it to life in real time, that has been a transformative, and I do not say that lightly, it has been a transformative experience for me. Never before did I realize that I had the ability to create value out of thin air, to visualize something, talk to my coding tools, and say, I want you to create this and to have it come to life has been incredible. It's been incredible. And just because I like to flex, because that's just my nature, I'm going to show you one of the things that we have actually built. And this is a tool that I had referenced earlier, where it actually gives us the ability to, for example, use AI agents to actually teach soft skills. Now, everybody's talking about soft skills, soft skills. I think that that's a misnomer. These soft skills are the skills that actually make the world go round. This is an app I coded myself from beginning to end. My co-founder, Courtney Mansbridge, it was her genius idea. She's an educator here in Canada, and just realized that there was a huge gap when it came to teaching, assessment, and therapeutic communication skills. We're not going to do the demo for the sake of time today. If you want to do the demo of this and you want to be part of our subject matter experts who are actually helping us validate before we launch, send me a DM or mention in the chat here, and I'll go through after and send you guys, or we'll touch base to onboard you. But this is a platform that allows you to go in and actually talk to an AI patient with a very specific scenario. So Kathy, for example, she's an inpatient in an adult mental health unit, having some trouble with her thoughts that morning and needs your help. And so you're going to walk through, these are the skills you'll learn. These are the objectives. And you walk through and you start that conversation. This is a game changer and is going to truly, it's already revolutionizing the world of nursing education. And how did we do this? We saw a gap and we plugged it. Let's get back to the presentation. That's enough flexing. Ooh, let's see. And I love that you're looking to find ways to bridge those gaps, because that is where the money is to be made. But not just the money, impact and income, they go together. Love that. Absolutely love that. And you'd love to lead these providers and nurses in testing. Oh my good, in treating rather mental health issues. You came to the right place. Yeah, Anna, I love this. You're slowly becoming my favorite. I'm not being biased. I just like people who engage. It's good to know that this is working for y'all. If Compathia, that app that I just showed you, if that is something that you would either like to be able to build something that would solve a solution like that or solve a problem like that, or if you're trying to be involved in that, just say me in the chat right now. So I know that it's not just me and Anna chatting today. Oh, I seen y'all earlier. I'm just assuming you guys are locked in now. That's what I like to tell myself. Let's get back to it. So one of the other things that makes this business model powerful is the fact that it actually doesn't take a large investment. Traditional business models require that you go get a business loan, take a whole bunch of money out, spend years paying it back. I don't believe in that. Why would you go backwards so you can go forwards? Especially if your goal is to have financial freedom, it does not make sense to go into debt to attain that freedom. That's just not how it works. You got to go forward. Don't set yourself further back financially so you can move forward. So that is my recommendation. And as I said, all of these tools, they got free tiers. It makes it super accessible for people who do not have a coding background like me. I do not have a computer science degree. I did not ever take a single coding course, but I've been able to build something that was originally envisioned up here and in Courtney's mind and bring it to reality. And there's several examples of that. And it allows you to be able to create very specific solutions to very specific problems. We're not trying to compete with Microsoft or not trying to compete with Facebook or Instagram. We are trying to compete in a very narrow lane and just slice off a little piece of that pie. And that pie is very profitable. Trust me. At the end of the day, it allows you to take what is uniquely you, your personal skill set, your passions, what it is that you have spent decades, in some cases, honing in terms of skills, and to be able to create something new and novel. The other reason why I love talking about this so much is because the assessment skills that we've developed are actually the key to being able to make this all come together. Why is that? Most people will get an idea and they'll be like, that's genius. Let's just start building it. The problem with that is you haven't assessed, does the market want it? And when I say market, just replace that with people. Do people actually want or desire or need what it is that you're planning to do? This is why, as nurses, the first step is always assessment. And that applies here too. I recently had a conversation with somebody who spent 5 years at a startup, building a program, a software, a solution that after 5 years of hard work and labor, they found out nobody wanted, nobody cared for, and nobody bought it. That would be heartbreaking. Was the time wasted? Of course not. They learned. But imagine how painful that would be to have to put in that much work for that long. It's a huge chunk of your professional life, only to build something that nobody valued. This is why we assess first. So as I said earlier, one problem, one simple solution for one client. And then the way that this all comes together is we charge an upfront build fee, and then we charge a monthly retainer, because that gives us a spike of income for completing the work. And then because we've delivered tremendous value, they're going to keep paying monthly for that. And it doesn't take much for you to be able to replace your job income when you have a powerful solution for a specific subset of people that you can deliver again and again. Ooh, I say we got some other volunteers here. Ooh, I like that, Michelle. Absolutely. We'll get you as well. Thanks for mentioning that. Ooh, holistic care. Those who don't have advocates, Annie, you definitely onto something. This is beautiful. You don't have a coding degree either. I'd love to see what you've been building. And Chini, hey, Chini, I recognize you from LinkedIn. Glad that you actually joined today's live. Yeah, we'll definitely get you onboarded as well. All right, back to the content. So Anna's kind of given us some good examples of how AI can transform your workday, but just take a second to read these. And as you are going through and thinking about these potential use cases, if you see something that stands out to you, just mention that in the chat. Which one of these would add the most value to you over the course of your workday? If you're able to save time with repetitive tasks, or if you could organize data without having to manually do chart reviews, whether it's just turning what you have up here into tools, PDFs, resources that you can be paid for, digital products that you can sell while you sleep, or is it just being able to be more strategic in terms of your communication? Which one of these stands out most to you? I'll start off. For me, it was repetitive tasks and smart communication. For me, in my role as an informatics nurse, I send a lot of emails. Vast majority of the work I do is sending emails. And what I quickly realized is that I actually spent more time making sure there were no spelling errors or typos in my emails than actually writing the email. And so I built a really simple solution. If we have time, I'll show it to you. But essentially, it was a solution that allowed me to be able to actually quickly edit my emails in my own professional voice. Problem when you tell AI to write stuff or edit stuff for you, typically is that it'll just make it sound like ChatGPT slop, which nobody wants. I have a very particular style of writing. So I didn't want people to know that all of a sudden I was using AI. Not that that really matters, but consistency is important for me. It's like branding. You got to make sure that people can know, like, and trust you because you're consistent. And so I built a tool that solved that. Let's see, who else we got? Saving time. Definitely agree with that, Dominique. I'm curious to know if anybody else has any other ideas. Drop them in the chat as we continue on here. So it's important anytime that we're talking about things like this that we understand how well this actually works. Because you're like, okay, this all sounds well and dandy, but what are the results? Let's get down to the brass tacks. Oh, absolutely. Let's do it. This was one of the first custom softwares I built. Magnus the Eloquent essentially allows you to transform things from one form into another. So there's two ways that it's been used so far. One of them, which I currently have a client who paid a $5,000 initial fee for the build and a $1,000 monthly retainer. What they do is it allows them to be able to take the content that they had for a TV show they produced and turn it into LinkedIn posts. They were trying to get active on LinkedIn, had no idea how to do it. We're just going to have to spend a lot of time training their social media person. So I just built that out for them. We also have the ability to turn content and conversations. For example, if you record your calls, or if you have sales calls, or if you have education calls where you're coaching people, to be able to turn that into content, to turn that into emails, to turn that into posts on social media, ideas. It's a content repurposing system, which is why we call it Magnus the Eloquent. What comes out of it is pure eloquence. It allows you to be able to take advantage of all the things you already know. And because of the time saved, $1,000 a month is a steal for these guys, a steal. Now, just imagine, you only need a few of these clients to replace your job income for most of you, right? And so this is one of the things that I am the most proud of in my professional / business career, was being able to create this. Again, no code, just wisdom. The second one, which you're going to hear more about if you stick around to the end, an opportunity to get involved in this, is Violet the Curious. What Violet the Curious does is it streamlines the process of getting more Google Business Profile reviews. Now, why does that matter? Well, if you're a business owner, actually, even before that, let me ask y'all. The very first time that you went to go buy something, let's say on Amazon, you're looking for a new charging cable. We all know that when they switched to USB-C, we all had to switch and get more cables, especially the longer ones. How many of you, when you went to go buy a new cable for your iPhone, or you're looking to buy, I don't know, anything that has a lot of different variations online, how do you decide which one you're going to go with? Or if you're looking for a new family physician, you just move to a new area, you type in physicians near me. How are you going to decide which person you're going to go with if you haven't been able to check out any of them? You might go for word of mouth, but what else are you likely to do? Let me know in the chat. What are you likely to do if you don't know which one to go with, because there are many options? Let's see. This is a quiz game. Yes, let's see who's going to get it right today. There is a right and wrong answer. Let's see who's going to get it. Okay, Anna says close to home. That's one. What if you got 3 in your area that are all around the same area? Boom, Dominique. Go look at the reviews. Anna, star review. Exactly. So what this means is if I have 5 physicians in my area, which I do, and I'm just brand new, there's 4 of them that have a range from, let's say, 4 to 4.5. One of them has a 2.5 and one of them has a 5, especially if there's lots of 5-star reviews. I am going with the one that is the 5. Try to narrow it down based on the services they offer. Well, I like that. If they all offering the same services, eventually, Michelle, you're going to be like, I'm just going to pick one. And that's probably going to be the highest rated one. Or maybe you'll call them, see how they respond. The vast majority of people are going to go based on reviews. It's the same thing on Amazon. Well, there's 5 versions of the same thing. There's 1,000 people who have rated this at 4.8. I'm just going to go with that one. Use reviews. Exactly. So now you see why something like this is so important and so powerful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a quick demo of how this system works. And the reason why this is important is that those who are still here at the end will have an opportunity to actually leverage this system for themselves to be able to create additional income. How? You're going to have to stay to find out. So this is the Violet the Curious landing page. Yes, I did code this myself. Look at how beautiful it is with these little moving balls, for lack of a better term. It's beautiful, isn't it? But that's not what we're here for. You guys can visit the website if you want to see what it's about yourselves. But what I have done is I have built out a nice little system here that allows business owners to go in, if I could spell my password right, and submit reviews. And how does this work? Well, you go into the system over here, and then they're able to go in and set their Google Business profile review link. They put the name of their business. If they're a clinic, they'll go in here and turn that on, and they have the ability to add providers here. And then they can go in and just shoot this off. And let me just show you for sake of demo, because as they say, seeing is believing, and we all about believing on today's masterclass. It sends that review request. And then what happens is the patient will then get a nice little text message that actually has the link to leave the review. And it's all done instantaneously. And as we've established, the fact that we have the ability to do something like this, where you can, for example, go in and, ooh, calendar, nice. So this came in right now. It's 5:33 for me. And what happens when we click this link? Well, okay, let me bring it over to this screen here. Boom, takes you directly to the place to leave a review. Incredible, incredible. Did I have a coding background a bit to build this? No, I just understood something very important, which is the fact that all things being equal or appearing equal, people will pursue that which is the highest rated because we feel that other people have validated what we were thinking or what we needed to know. This is why this is incredibly powerful, especially in the States. In Canada, at the end of the day, yeah, having more clients coming to your clinic, you can bill more as a physician, as a nurse practitioner, as a physiotherapist. But in the States, it makes a huge difference. Everything is about competition. And so this is why businesses are willing to pay a premium for something like this. And as I said, for those of y'all who stick around to the end, you'll learn how you have an opportunity to get involved in this to make some extra income for yourselves without necessarily having to start your own business. That's only if you hear at the end. Anyways, oh yeah, no, I did not want to flex again, I promise. All right, let's wrap up. So what does this really mean for you? This means that if you, like me, desire to be able to increase your income to 5K, 10K a month, this is as simple as it gets. In my case, I sold the initial systems of each of these, and this was actually nice that it happened in the same month. 5,000 and then 1,000. Or sorry, 5,000 and then 2,000 here for the initial build, 7,000 up front, 1,500 monthly recurring between these two systems. So that means that the next month I had hit 10K. It was powerful. It was liberating. It was perspective changing because think about how many hours, how many shifts, how many stretches, how many night shifts in particular, how much patient harassment or how much patient, yeah, let me not get into that. But we all know what it's like working bedside these days. Now, just imagine, oh, is this US dollars? Good question. Yes, Anna, it is. That's a big tip. Any of y'all who are planning to start a business, doesn't matter if you're in the States or Canada, always charge in USD. So yes, for me, that was a game changer. Good question. And so, more than anything else, the reason I wanted to share this with you is I know that when I was in your position, just understanding what was actually possible with real numbers and real examples is what helped me make an informed decision. We're all about informed consent with the way that I do things. That does not just apply to obtaining consent to treatment from patients, it applies here too. You need to know all the information to make sure you're making a smart move. The enlightened informatics process was brought together specifically for that reason, to leverage your already existing experience, skill set, the things we do each and every day that don't pay us money, that just help us get by, to be able to build something that allows you to go from surviving to thriving. As I mentioned, we always assess what hurts. Where is the pain point? Who is it that is asking for a solution, or who is it that we can serve? And what will be the end result when we help them? Then we take the time to delineate and plan. The enlightened informatics process, as you're quickly seeing, is based off the nursing process. But instead of diagnosing, we're delineating, making sure we're exceptionally clear on what the solution is, who needs the solution, where we're going to find them, and how we're going to reach them. And then we plan out an MVP, or minimum viable product. Because again, you don't want to spend years building something that people don't actually care about. As nurses, we love to fall into perfection. Let me speak for myself. I have been a victim of the perfectionist mindset for a long time. And I think for me, naturally, with how I was raised, the environment I was raised, it lent itself to that. But becoming a nurse, even more so. Because if you make a mistake, somebody could lose their life. Somebody's mama, somebody's papa, somebody's son, daughter, whatever could be harmed as a result of that. So we are hesitant to experiment, to try, to do things that might cause us to fail. But you got to get out of that, because business does not operate that way. Life does not operate that way. Be all right with putting something out there that's not fully finished, and let people provide you with the feedback on how to finish it in a way that actually adds value to them. I'll give you a good example of this. When we were building out Violet, because this system actually requires you to put in the name and the phone number every time. And at first we're like, oh, this is going to be a barrier because people don't want to do manual for that. When I presented it to the first person who hopped onto this system, which was actually the business owner who ended up getting 35 five-star reviews in 14 days, which was unbelievable for them. They had been open for like almost a decade and had, I think, 80 reviews. So to get 35 in 14 days was transformational for them. But when I told her, she's like, I actually don't want it to be automated. There are some patients that no matter how well you serve them, they're not going to leave you a good review. I would like to be in control of that as the physician, because I know how the interactions went and which patients are most likely to leave a five-star review. Oh my gosh. Here I was about to dedicate a lot of development time and research time into figuring out how I could build this automated system, only to find out that that would not have been what they wanted. This is why, please, guys, if you take nothing else from this, just know that your assessment skills are a six-figure skill set, if nothing else. If you want to not necessarily start a business right now, but you're trying to make an income in a non-bedside job, just know it's your assessment skills that will do that for you. Then we implement, evaluate, and provide ongoing support. This is how you get those monthly retainers. You got to have some sort of stickiness to them. Make sure that they're always thinking about you, that you're still adding value to them. We don't build the system, collect the paycheck, and dip out. No, we provide ongoing support. Again, we're just bringing in our nursing nature in here. And we need to know that it's working. What are the key performance indicators? What are the metrics? Where's the data? This is the part of the call where we go and do a live build. So I'm going to tell you how this is going to work. If you haven't already, I'm going to scroll through and see if anybody has dropped any app ideas in here. And you know what, Lisa, I'm just seeing your message here. I totally missed this in the beginning. Oh, she was one of the first ones. I would like to create an app for attorneys to go on and read redacted cases that I have already reviewed, and they can purchase on the app the entire case with a legal nurse review included. Since you were first, we're doing it. We're doing it. Love that idea. Lisa, if you're still here, let me know, because you got to still be here for us to build this. Let me know. If you're still watching, say, I'm here. While we're waiting for Lisa, I'm going to tell you how this is going to go. Step one, always, as I said, is assess. So if Lisa is still here and we're going to build this out for her, then step one is that she's already done that work for us. She has already assessed that this is something that is needed. So step two now is to actually go and plan it out. Ooh, Lisa, I hope you're still here, because that's a really good idea. In the event that Lisa is not here, I want somebody else to get ready to drop their app idea in there. That was a great idea. So hopefully, Lisa, you're still here. And then we are going to, once we've planned it out, we're going to then use AI to complete the rest of it. Now, the tool that I love to teach on, it's called Lovable. You can access it at lovable.dev. It has a very generous free tier. And that is what we're going to be using for our experiment today. Now, the beauty of being able to use a tool like Lovable, which is very low cost, very simple to use interface that people who are non-technical have the ability to actually go ahead and leverage, it makes it super easy because it's not intimidating at all. You're literally just using your nursing knowledge, what it is that you talk about each and every day, to be able to do this. So, looks like Lisa may not be here. If any of y'all know Lisa, make sure you be like, yo, Timmy called you out and you weren't there. Mm. So I'm going to start firing up what we're going to need. Somebody else go ahead and drop an app idea. I got one for myself, but I think it's just more fun if I can bring something that you guys would like to see to life live. It really does wonders to build belief. All right. Okay, well, going once, going twice. Maybe I'm going to take a sip of water, see? All right. So what we're going to build out then today is, let's see. Ooh, Anna, you dropped a couple. Let me scroll through. Maybe I didn't scroll through well enough. Okay, well, you know what? I do see this one part here. Is this the one that you were talking about, Anna? To treating mental health issues such as Down syndrome, PTSD, veterans who have been suffering from mental illness. I like that idea. Let me see if there was another one of yours that I missed somewhere along the way. Because you say you dropped a couple. Where am I seeing them? It's because y'all were so active in the chat, which I absolutely love. All right. So in that case, why don't we take that idea? I do like that idea, Adam. So if we were going to go from like an educational perspective on that, here's how we could go about doing that. You know what I'm going to do actually? We're going to go ahead and share the screen here. And then I'm actually going to copy your exact idea here. And I'm going to copy it into that. Perfect. And what you guys are going to see today is the power of being able to actually leverage something which is your unique experience, which is unique to you, to actually create something out of thin air. So the first tool we're going to be leveraging is going to be ChatGPT. I think most of us are very familiar with ChatGPT. A lot of us have probably used ChatGPT, but y'all haven't seen what I'm about to show y'all today. We're going to start off, and just for the sake of time, we're going to use the instant for ChatGPT 5. For something like this, which is building a product requirement document, I would actually strongly recommend using the thinking model. But when you put thinking, it's going to think and take its time. So we're going to go in and say, I want to build an app. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. That will be used by non-mental health care providers to be educated on PTSD, Down syndrome, risk assessments. Let's see what else. Veterans who, let's say trauma, and will be used to optimize care provided to this group of patients. I'm not going to fix the typos here because ChatGPT is smart enough to do what I'm trying to say. I'm going to say build a PRD. So a product requirement document is crucial when you are coding with AI, because when you have a whole team that's developing an app, there are people who are responsible for ensuring that we are following what the intent was, which is a product manager. You are the product manager. So you need to have a product requirement document so your AI knows what it is that we're trying to do. So it's named it Care Companion. Sure, why not? And it's telling us that it's designed for non-mental health care providers to be able to learn all of this stuff. education, risk assessment tools. That's great. And so what AI will do is it's very creative. And so because it has access to the internet, it's going to actually do a pretty good job in terms of thinking about what else you might need. Talks about the target users. Here are the key features: education module, risk assessment tools, care optimization, and here. So it's done a great job anticipating that it's going to be used on iOS, Android, and web. And you'll see why that's important in terms of how it frames it. Talking about non-functional requirements. So again, I did not tell it needs to be HIPAA compliant, but it's smart enough to know. But for something like this, we're not going to have to worry about that because we're not loading patient data. You could in the future. And then it's going to talk about all these fancy certifications. We're going to leave that for another day. Talks about how it's going to know it was successful. Here's the roadmap, an MVP, minimum viable product, which is what we're going to focus on right now. And then I am going to copy this and we're going to go to lovable.dev. Let me go ahead and pivot my screen share here. Now, Lovable, they are not sponsoring me, but they better, because the number of people that I got paying for this product is a lot. That's another way you can make income as a nurse, but we'll come to that another day. And what we're going to do today is we're just going to slap that prompt in here and we're going to say, use this PRD to build the MVP for this app. And I'm just going to paste exactly what ChatGPT gave me. Now, again, a PRD is a product requirement document, and this is important because that guides the AI. AI is just AI. It is not going to solve all your problems. You need to be in control of it. So we need to give it guide rails so it doesn't go off track, because again, AI is AI. But what it will do is it'll ensure that you have a centralized brain. I want you to think of a PRD like a care plan or a treatment plan. There may be many providers who are involved in this work, but this is the document we're all coming back to. And when I build out my full-scale apps like Compathia, for example, there's a few other types of documents I use to guide development, but we're going to keep it simple today. Now, Isabel, I saw your idea here, app for new parents, overwhelming time with lots of information. This is one of the best types of apps to build because it fills a very unique gap. There are lots of apps that are targeted towards people having kids, but specifically to condense the information that they need to know into a single spot. Because my wife and I don't have kids yet, but we are planning to. And I can't imagine, like, after you have been through, especially for the ladies, it's like you've been through a serious experience and they're trying to teach you and tell you all these things. It's thank goodness that we do a lot of that learning ahead of time and that both partners where that situation permits should be involved in that. But can you imagine the overwhelming amount of information as you're prepping to go home? And you're like, I just want to sleep in my own bed. And they're telling you got to do this, worry about this, follow up here. That would be powerful to have all of that in a single app. So you don't have to remember. Or if it's just like sitting there recording what people are saying, love that. That's genius. So I will tell you, I would strongly encourage you to stay to the end so you have an opportunity to learn how you can actually develop that app in conjunction with me. So what Lovable is doing is just thinking. So we're not going to get too technical here, but basically what it's doing is it's building out the different elements of this app. And what we're going to get back is a MVP or minimum viable product. Sometimes people think that they need to have everything done. As I said, that is a false narrative. Because in this day and age where everybody who is in the investment world is looking for the next big thing, they're willing to provide you with funding to become the next big thing. For Compathia, we have tremendous plans for what it's going to be able to do. You're going to have to sign up for an onboarding call if you're trying to find out. And you know what, while we're waiting for this, why don't I just go ahead and drop the link for that? But if that's something that you are curious to learn more about, then you can go ahead and I think you guys can actually click these links here. You can go ahead and book a time in either me or my co-founder's calendar using this link here. And you can actually use that to book an onboarding call. And then we'll get you on the platform. The one thing we ask is that you give us feedback on how we can improve, because we're planning to build this into a $100 million company and we need your help. So what it's doing now is it's going through and it's building out the different things you can see here. So it has the components. The hero is like the main page. Okay. Then we have the learning module component. Then we have the risk assessment section. Then we have the resources. And what I am going to want you guys all to do, when this app pops up and it shows us our MVP that was built with one prompt, and again, Not get it twisted. Oh, here it comes. This app is not complete, but let me ask you, be honest. When you first saw this, did you expect that you were going to see all this in just one prompt? In just one? Tell me, honestly, what was your reaction? Tell me in the chat. What was your reaction when you saw this? Especially you, Anna. What was your reaction? Let's take a little peek, see what do we got? So we've gone in, we've got some learning modules that are specific to PTSD, some that are specific to Down syndrome, trauma informed care. I just said trauma. Did I say anything about trauma informed care? I did not, but it knew. Wow is right. Wow is right. That would be me too. Amazing. Dominique says, wow, this is a game changer for sure. Count me in. That's great. Make sure you all stay to the end. And then Anna, I'm glad. The answer. So Anna, as the winner of this, if you have, I think you mentioned you already have a Lovable account, or maybe you were saying you already have to dropping things in the chat there for the ideas. If you do not have a Lovable account, sign up for one so that I can send you the link and we can develop this together. Let's actually get into it though. Start learning. What happens? Okay, nothing yet. To be expected. We didn't tell it what to do when we hit start learning. We got our modules built out here. Oh, this is nice. Okay, safety planning template. Ooh, we didn't ask for that, but here it is. That's cool. PTSD screening checklist, suicide risk evaluation, resources. Okay, flag indicators. We've got crisis hotline, some diagnostic criteria. Love that. Oh, this will be nice. And it's put in the little download buttons for us. Obviously, it's not doing anything yet because we haven't built that out yet. Let's go to risk assessment. Okay, I see what it's done. So it's kind of put it all on one page. If we're going to continue building this, I would want it all on separate pages in an app. Love that. That's my reaction to every time I do this. No account yet. Getting it. Perfect. And then did it build out anything for profile? My progress? No, but it'll build that out. How much time do we got? You know what? We're going to leave it here. But what we would do next, obviously, is we would ask it to actually build out these pieces so that the navigation is complete. But so far, we got the risk assessment section. We've got de-escalation, referral protocols. It really thought about a lot of stuff. And the cool thing is that we didn't give it all this information, but now we're like, you know what? That's actually a good idea. Sometimes AI will go rogue and do more than you asked it to. It's like a child with ADHD who's gifted. If you leave them alone, yeah, they might turn into a masterpiece, but they might also just totally mess up what you're doing, which is why the PRD and the other documents are very important. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. So what does this actually mean for you guys? What is the actual big idea for why you guys came here today, spent a little bit of time this evening just chatting about the different options that are available to you? Well, ultimately speaking, it comes down to this. And let me pull back up the presentation here. Whether you are somebody who already has a crystal clear picture of what it is that you want to do and why, whether you're somebody who's just starting to figure that out, you're just dabbling into what this could potentially mean for you, I want you to know that there's an opportunity for you to be able to get involved. Let me just bring this back up here before I get too excited. There we go. Anna, congratulations on winning. And that way is strategic partnerships. At the end of the day, you don't have to come up with the genius idea. You can just partner with somebody who has something that you believe in, who started something that you've believed in, which is exactly one of the two opportunities that I like to present to you guys today. Number one, we've identified a critical gap as it pertains to Violet. There are many NPs, especially who are just starting their practice, who are having a very hard time getting clients because they have no online reputation whatsoever. And instead of having to reinvent the wheel, there's two things. Number one, if what you've seen today has you thinking, hey, I need to actually do something like this myself. Let's see. For example, like Isabel, this idea right here, assessing for perinatal mental health, so suicide safety plan would be helpful. Imagine if you were to go and build out an app specifically for that population. I can tell you right now, there isn't one. During, I think it was actually our first one of these webinars a couple weeks back, we had somebody who actually had an idea to build an app specifically for mood tracking and mindfulness for perinatal addiction and mental health. Genius. So other than that, I've never seen an app like that. So Isabel, for example, if you wanted to go and learn how to build this out, then what you would be able to do is to actually join the Idea to App Challenge. Now, it does not start in 4 weeks. It actually starts on October 6th. And the way that this works is it is a 5-day challenge where we'll be meeting on Zoom from 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So the same time we started this webinar today. And the goal at the end of that 5 days is not only have a fully functional MVP or minimum viable product, a plan to market it, but also specific examples of accelerators, incubators, or funding opportunities that you can apply for that are specific to healthcare and your niche, which dramatically boosts the chances of you being accepted into those programs. We also walk through how to prepare applications for those types of competitions, because it just takes one person to believe in your idea, where they give you enough funding for the whole year to not only build the app, but to also compensate yourself. It is a phenomenal place to be. And myself and Courtney, my co-founder, are aggressively pursuing many of those because we already know Compathi is a home run. It's just wondering now, who are we going to go with? Now, who is this for? If you are a non-technical solution person, somebody who's been in the field for a while, you have a very specific problem that you've seen, for example, like this one that Isabel mentioned here. Like this one here, a great example of that is that this is something that somebody who, actually here, let me pivot back here. That's something that only somebody who is actually in the field would be able to know is important and needed. And so that's for people like that, or beginners who want a step-by-step process for how to be able to do this. What else is included? You get complimentary access to the Clinician Builder School community. For those of you who came just today and registered today, you'll know that that is something that I'm currently offering until the start of the challenge. It is still complimentary. So you have the ability to register for this. And this is where you're going to be able to actually get access to all of the tools, all of my knowledge that I have used to build what will eventually become a $100 million app. I'm calling it here. I'm 100% confident in that. Let me bring this down so I can talk to y'all for just a moment. Let me just bring this down real quick. Now, if you're on the fence, you're like, well, this looks amazing. I still don't know if this is for me. Let me let you know right now, you can't do it on your own. Because if you could do it on your own, you wouldn't need my help. Right now, you can't do it. But the reality of being in a community, having other people who are pursuing what you're pursuing, and most importantly, having access to a coach mentor who is in the same industry as you, who has done what you want to do, is that you can shortcut the process to success. Mentorship has always been and will always be the shortcut to success. So if this is something that you see value in, not that you're interested in, I don't want anybody who is interested in it. I don't believe in that when people are like, oh yeah, I'm interested in this, I'm interested in that. It's like when Facebook introduced that option for when you're going to events, like whether it's going, maybe, no, or interested. You already know that if you make an event and somebody says that they're interested in it, that they're not coming. You already know. So I'm looking for people who value what it is that we've talked about today and know that they have the ability to create something powerful. If that is you, go ahead, click this link I dropped, join the Idea to App Challenge. This gives you the ability to get involved in what it is that we're doing, to get permanent access to the Clinician Builder School community. And why is that important? Well, because I'll be continually adding value. And eventually, the people who got in when it was complimentary, no matter how many more courses, how many more resources go in there, you get access. I also will give you the templates I use to run my business, as well as all the AI tools I've developed. You get access to that as well. But I know that there are some people who are sitting here saying, I want to make extra income, but I'm just not ready to start a business. I'm just not ready to have to be the one calling all the shots. What can I do? Don't worry. I already knew that you would be wondering that. And we have something for you too. And what is that? It's the Violet Partnership Program. Now, as I showed you earlier, this is a no-brainer in terms of what it is that it does to add value to especially small and new practices. Nobody is going to go to a doctor that has no reviews, or maybe has 2 reviews. One of them is a 5-star, one of them is a 1-star because they just got mad at the reception. That's a 3.0. I'm not trusting my family with a 3.0 So if I had a new baby, I'm definitely not going to somebody who has a 3.0 unless I'm desperate, because that's my family's well-being. And so this is the reason why this is a already validated offer that gives you the ability to plug into. The way that this works is we all leverage who it is that we know. It's not what you know, it's who you know. But we all know somebody. And again, this doesn't have to just be practices. This is for any business. You know somebody who's a plumber, who's in construction, somebody who runs a marketing firm. Anybody who has a Google business profile can benefit from this. And what this means for you is if you want an opportunity to expand your income without having to put in the work to actually build your own business, this is something that we are actively recruiting other nurses who want to be part of this movement. Currently, we're well established in Canada. We're looking to expand out into the States, and we need people to help us take over this part of the market. And if that is you, then I would love for you to be able to go ahead and actually use the link that I'm about to drop here to book a call. Now, as we wrap up today, because I want to be respectful of y'all's time, I told you we were going to wrap up by 8 p.m. Eastern, which is now. If you're still on the fence and you're thinking, okay, I know that I would like to do something. I know that I have to make a move. I know that I have ideas that are worthwhile. Then the Idea to App Challenge is for you. The first time that you collect an investment payment fee for something that exists only up here, it will forever change your brain chemistry. For me, that was when I made my first sale of my coaching program back in 2023 for $1,500. Blew my mind, changed my life. That same offer, I have sold dozens of times at $6,500. I didn't know the value of what I had back then. But as I got more results for people, as I help people get more jobs, as I help people transition to informatics, as I help people start businesses and got more wins under my belt and the belt of the people I helped, I realized that the power of being able to turn something that is in your mind into reality is what will separate the nurses who will continue complaining about the reality of nursing and how tough bedside is and how annoying it is when patients are rude and disrespectful, how risky it is to work bedside because of harm against nurses. And the nurses who will literally become millionaires is this ability to create something that is in your mind in the real world and to have it add value to real people. And so this is you. Idea to App challenges your pathway. But like I said, if you are still in that side where you're like, you know what? I'm not sure that I'm ready to go ahead and dive in just yet. Maybe I just need a little bit more guidance. I need a little extra support. I need a little extra time. And it said, you want to help us expand out what we're doing with Violet? Then this is also for you. I'm going to go ahead and drop that link here. There we go. And y'all should be able to click that. Lastly, if you want to learn a little bit more about what we're doing, how we do it, and you want to be able to get in touch with me, the best way to do that will be on LinkedIn. If you can't find me on LinkedIn, because I don't have LinkedIn, you should be on LinkedIn if you're a nurse trying to do something different. That is the best spot. LinkedIn will be the best spot to catch me. If not, I also do have Instagram and I also have TikTok and YouTube. Find a way to get in touch and do that. I'm going to just go ahead and drop my email in here because I know that some of y'all still got questions. And if that is this. The beauty of being able to come into an environment like this and to see what is possible is that the dimensions of our mind are stretched. And it gets stretched in such a way that it shifts our perspective of what is possible. Truly. But what happens when we sit on that feeling, that excitement? Inevitably, it's going to wane. And so I'm not saying that if you don't sign up today, it's a forever lost opportunity. Nope, there'll always be other opportunities. But the question is, how much longer are you willing to wait to act on those things that you told yourself you were going to do yesterday? To create the life that you've always known you were meant to do, that you're meant to live, so you can live life on your terms according to your values. That's really my only question. For me, I know that time waits for no man, waits for no woman, and waits for nobody. And I'm trying to enjoy life to the maximum while I have the opportunity to do so. That is why I chose to go ahead and dive in. And I know I'm not the only one. The reason you're on this webinar today is because you're seeking something. And so, what I'm curious is, did I deliver on the promise of teaching you at least one thing that you yourself can take today and act on it? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Did I fulfill that promise? Did I fall short? Be honest. Like I said, feedback is key. And if so, just type yes. Just type yes in the chat there if I delivered on what it is that you were hoping to be able to see today. You got one idea that you can apply, whether it's in the education side of things, whether it's in the app development side of things, whether it's partnering together with people. I see Emily said yes. Love to see that. I'm glad that we were able to deliver what it was that you were looking for. Deliver on that promise is very important to me. Lorado, I've been meaning to send you a message. Glad to see you here today. Michelle also says yes. I think the cost up front will be helpful, but the information was helpful. Glad to hear. Rosie, absolutely. Deanna, glad to hear it. So what I'm going to say is this. If you still got some questions like Isabel, go ahead and use the link that I dropped over there, book a call, and we can chat. Everybody's situation is unique. Everything that everybody is trying to accomplish is unique. And so there is specifics around what that looks like. So Isabel, go ahead, or I can reach out to you too. Go ahead and reach out to me, and then we can chat about what that looks like. And I'm glad to hear that. Adam, I will go ahead and reach out to you, send you the link so that we can collaborate on that project and build it into something meaningful. And that's it. If you take nothing else away from today, the most important piece is that you have the knowledge. You have to now get the understanding of how to do this, and then to find the people that are going to help you bring it all together. The only thing that's left is for you to take action. I look forward to seeing you all on the Idea to App Challenge or inside of the Clinician Builder School community. Take care, stay blessed. I will see y'all next time.